Now, as I watch that, Jim, there are those who have seen it, and I've seen it. There is one moment in prison, and I don't think we have a clip of it, but I'll tell you, where you are sharing with the people in prison about to be handed over to Nero's circus and thrown to the lions. You teach them the Our Father in that scene. Was there any hesitation going back to this biblical era, and did you worry about this performance being compared to that of Jesus?
I didn't mind it because I wanted the world to see Jesus in Luke. Aren't we at our greatest when the world sees Jesus in each one of us? So. That's a bonus.
A little twofer, a casting twofer. How do you like that? Did playing Jesus, and one of the questions that came in, and we're taking your questions and we'll be asking them a little later. Did playing Jesus help you in any way or prepare you for playing this character whom we don't know a whole lot about? And we'll talk to Dr. Hahn about what we know of him. There's not a lot of biographical material in the Gospels about Luke.
Well, Jesus was a lot harder because I had to walk on my pool twice a day and get that down. That one was a lot physically just more demanding. The whips, the beatings, the shoulder separation, pneumonia. Makeup times were from 2 in the morning till 10 in the morning. From 10:30 to 4:30, I was usually freezing, and then they had to, get the makeup off, and that took 2 hours every day just to get it off. And then I had, sores all over my body. And then I ended up having pneumonia. I ended up struck by lightning, and it was open heart surgery, So, but you would have never seen that performance had we shot that in a studio. It was birthed in pain. The pain in this movie, Paul, the apostle of Christ, was just the neglect that that God feels in how I felt when I was going to Mass every day, that the world doesn't love him. And when you do something like this, you go to a very, very deep place, and he doesn't protect his friends from suffering. So I remember James and John when they said, I want to be at your right and left-hand side. And are you willing to drink the cup I'm going to drink? Yes, you will. So whenever you do something like this, if you take the cross out of it, if you take any kind of suffering out of it, it's not going to have the power that it needs, especially in this day.
Yeah. Dr. Hahn, tell us about Luke himself. What do we know of him through either the sacred tradition, or what clues does the Bible give us as to who he might have been?
Well, there's a certain irony here, because we know most of what we know about Paul from Luke in the book of Acts. And we know most of what we know about Luke from Paul. In terms of written sources, he refers to him as the beloved physician. We surmise that he was most likely a Gentile. But he was also Paul's companion from chapter 16 in the book of Acts all the way through. But he more than just a companion, more than just a protege, he was a disciple of Paul. When you read the Gospel of Luke, you realize how a Gentile could have assimilated so much of the Hebrew Scriptures to illuminate how Christ fulfills it. But this is also where the oral tradition of our church kicks in, because how did Luke know what he writes in Luke 2:19 and verse 51? She pondered these things in her heart. Well, the tradition sort of fills in the blank by telling us that not only did he spend time with the Blessed Virgin, but he also painted her. That was another element, that he had this gift of artistry. And so this icon of Our Lady goes back to Luke in our tradition. So Luke has a depth and at the same time a humility about himself. And so he spends most of the time in the second of Acts giving us almost most of what we know about St. Paul and his travels.
Scott, I wish you were with me when we made this movie. I would have been a lot better in it.
That makes two of us. I wish I was.
The sequel. You can come back and advise on the sequel. Okay, I have to share this with you. This is a little clip of Paul,